Hi kids, Kreeper here reporting not quite live from the used 2000 Honda Accord studios to bring you the Juggalo shit. I'm going to kick this video off with a retraction. I know I said last week about the boy Devin running this channel called HorrorTube where he narrates spooky stories. Well, it turns out that HorrorTube is more of a collective of creative individuals that all come together to kind of build something. And it was founded by a lady named Duchess Dark alongside a couple of her compatriots. So, like Devin, what she does is narrate spooky stories. And I really appreciate the thing that she's got going on for the benefit of the creators. So I'm going to leave a link to her channel in the description, and you can go and show her some love. And be sure to check out Devin's channel as well. But I digress. To get into this next shit, I'm going to run a segment for you I like to call the Juggalo Fake News. Anybody knows that it's a Juggalo head, internet web superstar personality such as myself's duty to provide you with the latest news going on in the underground today. Well, I'm here to provide some alternative facts for your alternative fact-checking, fake fuck fact-finding fuckface, you fuck. Alright, so we're going to kick this off with Tech-Nine's Planet, which was released earlier this month, and is possibly the worst received album ever to be released on Strange Music. Critics of the album say that upon listening, they were subjected to hemorrhaging from the eyes, nose, ears, mouth, butt, and penis hole. It has so far caused such a financial loss to the Strange Music Company that they are now filing bankruptcy, and you will likely never, ever, 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 ever hear from Tech-Nine again. Next, Fago Lovers ran their Fago Lovers Music Awards, with the highest prestige going to the Album of the Year. Well, it turns out that the collaborative effort between Satanic and King Frankenstein, called Please Slather Mayo on My Ass and Watch Me 69 Each Other While We Roll Out of a Moving Vehicle, has actually swept the Album of the Year award by an unexpected write-in vote. It's the least anticipated album in the underground, but I highly suggest checking out the video for it, although you will be needing a Pornhub subscription. Lastly, Gmo Ski and Blase Rose took to the internet this week to engage in an announcement that they are in fact very much in love with each other, and shared on a live stream an open mouth kiss and an announcement that they are pregnant. Early ultrasounds of the baby suggest that their little fuck baby, Blamo Skis, is something resembling the Swamp Thing from the notorious movie Swamp Thing and an undercooked baked potato. So, for our next segment, being the self-styled horrorcore lifestyle guru that I titled myself as because I need a fancy word to sound important, we're going to take an examination of horror manga. Alright? Manga, if you didn't know, that's Japanese comic books. You know, shit like Sailor Moon, Dragon Ball Z. What else do you kids read these days? I'm not actually sure. Love Hina or some shit. Anyway, well, I like to keep the shit wicked, so we're going to be examining the horror aspect of the manga medium. And I actually ended up with so much content when I was listing out what I was going to include in the video that I actually have to divide it into two segments. I don't know if I'm going to run them immediately back to back or what the fuck I'm ever doing ever. So, we're going to start with part one being individual horror mangas and manga series, alright? And, video number two is going to be exploring creators whose body of work is so prolific that they themselves warrant a light being shown on their creative endeavors. Alright, so we're going to get into that shit. So here's me talking about some Japanese horror manga comic books. Enjoy it, bitch. We're going to kick this off with something kid-friendly. Zekyo Gakyu, also known as Screaming Lessons or Scary Lessons. It's an anthology series presented by Yomi, a bisected ghost girl who serves as your horror host. This series equivalent to the Vault Keeper from the old EC comics. She introduces each horror tale, typically of the cautionary variety, and usually centered around something sinister befalling a school-aged boy or girl. Being aimed at a younger audience, this series is more comfy than it is terrifying, though the stories don't always end well for the protagonist. There was a live-action movie adaptation made, but from what I've seen, there's been no translation of it available online. I will be providing links to this manga in the description, so y'all can check that shit out there. Next I bring you Mahou Shoujo of the End, or Magical Girl Apocalypse. I received the first book in this series as a gift, otherwise it might have flown completely under my radar. Did you ever wonder what would happen if The Walking Dead fucked Magical Girl Pretty Sammy and they fed the resulting baby a steady diet of meth and brown acid while reading it the Unabomber Manifesto at bedtime? Me either, but that's what happened, and now we have this series. It begins with Ki Kagome, a bored everyman who just wishes something would happen to break up the monotony of his fucking boring existence. He gets his wish when one day a tripped out gothic Lolita rolls up on his classroom and starts killing fucking everything. Then things only escalate from there. I didn't expect to enjoy this series as much as I did. It's brutal, gory, and fucking bonkers. The series is a spin-off, Magical Girl site, which is getting an anime adaptation later this year, but I'm not familiar with it, so I can't tell you if it's gonna suck or not. The next two books have a lot in common, which makes sense since they were both creations of Masaaki Nakayama. I'm talking about Kouishou Radio and Fuan no Tane. Both are horror anthologies dealing with supernatural terrors that may seem familiar to anybody who's a fan of J-horror, or their westernized equivalents like The Ring or The Grudge. Fuan no Tane is a rapid-fire anthology, with most of the stories only being a handful of pages. There's also a sense of humor that's absent in Kouishou Radio, with the final page occasionally playing more like the punchline to a spooky joke. Both use jarring imagery to leave the reader with a haunted impression. Like Screaming Lessons, Fuan no Tane got adapted to a movie that I'll leave a link to in the description, assuming I can still find the fucker. So there you have it, motherfucker. This is just a small examination of horror manga as it exists in the world today. So do your own research, check out your own shit, and figure out what you like. Alright? But while we're on the subject of comics, you need to check out Whoops, the Juggalo Webcomic that I do with my man Yerk. All these things and more are going to be available in the description, so be sure that you check that shit out. Once again, my name is Kreeper, and if you like my videos, like, share, and subscribe to them, and share them all around, and tell your friends. I don't even care if you give them the website. Just be like, yo, one time I seen this asshole just sitting in a car talking about Juggalo horrorcore nonsense, and I think he might be, like, mental or something. Either way, just spread the word, dickhead. I love you. Bye. Do we understand each other? Bye. Leave. Get out. Get out. Get out of my car. Get the fuck out of my car.